Cindy from Ask Nurse Cindy. Happy Thursday to you. Let me see if I can get this camera straight. How are you? Hey, I'm going to be starting a new series that I'm going to label called Common Keto Questions. This is episode 1 because I get a lot of questions over and over again. So clearly there's some questions that I need to address. So for those of you that don't know me as you're hopping on, my name is Cindy. I'm a registered nurse times 39 years. I started this Facebook page about a year ago. Hi everybody as you're hopping on. I started this Facebook page about a year ago to chronicle my journey towards better health. I've always fought my weight. I've always been obese, and I've lost almost 70 pounds following this way of eating. And so I started the Facebook page due to my dear daughter, Rachel D., who I think just jumped on. Hi, sweetheart. And she said, Mom, you need to be able to share your story with people. So I'm chronicling my journey. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to diagnose, treat, or cure, but I do want to start addressing some of these common questions. So Jade, you asked me this question the other day, and many others have as well. I don't have my gallbladder. My doctor says I can't do keto. Is this true? Or some relative term to that. So let's talk about what the gallbladder is and what it does. The gallbladder is like a little sac. It's a small little sac that sits underneath the liver. And the liver produces a ton of different things, as well as the pancreas does, which produces most of our enzymes. But the liver itself produces bile. Bile salts are molecules. They're an enzyme, and they literally help us when we eat fat, break down the fat into the fatty acids that then can be pulled into the lymphatic system, dumped into the inferior vena cava, and then our body uses, and that's how it gets to the bloodstream. Without bile to help digest the fats will pass through your intestines undigested, and you'll see greasy stuff floating on the top of the toilet water. Hey, I'm a nurse. I'm going to be just as blunt as I can be. So as you're hopping on, my topic today is I don't have a gallbladder. It's a question. I don't have a gallbladder, and the doctor says I can't do keto. So let's talk about it. So we know that the gallbladder now is a little sac. It sits underneath the liver. It's attached to it. There's a little tube that connects it called the common bile duct. And what it does is as the liver produces it, especially if you're not eating a food, it says, well, she's probably going to have some fried chicken or a Big Mac. This is pre-keto, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put it into this little sac. I'm going to store it. So the gallbladder, think of the bladder down lower, holds your urine. The gallbladder holds your bile, okay? So those of you that have had your gallbladder out, which I had mine out about probably 25 years ago. You had it taken out for a reason. You probably had gallstones. And that's where you had the bile and the bile salts collect into little rocks, little hardened rocks, pellets. And it started to cause you pain after a fatty meal. There's a thing called the fair, fat, and 40. If you're female, the 4 Fs. Fair, fat, and 40. If you're fair-skinned, if you're obese, if you're over 40, and if you're female, you're at high preponderance to develop gallstones, or cholelithiasis, or cholecystitis. Those are the medical terms that cause you to have your gallbladder removed. Now, does that stop the liver from producing bile? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So now instead of a bucket under your drippy faucet to catch the water just drips into the sink. In other words, your liver is going to continue to produce the bile, but it's going to drip into, I think it's the duodenum, at just an ongoing drip rate. Now, when I first had mine done, my gallbladder removed, I ended up with a very severe irritation because that bile dripping into my intestines caused me to have some chronic diarrhea for a period of time. It's called dumping syndrome. And my doctor told me, he says, you can't go every time you have the urge. And that's probably too much information for some of you, but oh well, you're just click off of it. But anyway, so he said, you gotta not go to the bathroom when you have the urge, so your body gets used to having that bile in the intestines. So I did, and over time it's fine. Now, here's what happens. If you don't have a gallbladder, and you do eat a really high-fat meal, which of course on keto we're eating a fairly large amount of fat, then what's going to happen is that you may have some of that dumping syndrome after a very high-fat meal. If you eat a fat bomb, if you have eggs with butter on it and bacon, you may find at the beginning of keto that you end up with some diarrhea or maybe even some cramping as it's passing through your intestines because you don't have enough bile at that point to digest it. if that makes sense, because you don't have your reservoir, you don't have the bucket to dump into the sink. So what if you are experiencing, if you don't have a gallbladder, and if you are, surely you can do it. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people that even, this is what cracks me up, is that if you are eating a standard American diet and you're having a muffin that has lots of fat, or a bagel with cream cheese, or you're having a Big Mac with fries, you're probably consuming more fat at that particular sitting than you are at any keto meal. So it's sort of funny. If you've been able to eat standard American diet without problems, there's no reason you can't do the keto diet. That being said, if you do develop some cramping, abdominal pain, if you find that you're having diarrhea, back off your fat content for a little bit of time. Keep your carbs low. That's the most important thing, is keep your carbohydrate intake down while you lower your fat. So it would be more of a lower fat, I don't want to say low fat, but just adjust your fat intake, especially all at one sitting. And then sort of stabilize and normalize, and then add the fats back in. So try to get your macros back up over time. Now, if you don't have, if you do have your gallbladder, so let me switch gears for a minute. If you do have your gallbladder and you are having severe pain after a high-fat meal, you probably have gallstones. Because what gallstones do, how they cause you pain, is when the little flat sac is filled with bile and you've got stones in there, it's no problem if they're just sitting there, but when it compresses down, like sort of squirting a water balloon, squirting something out of a sack if you're trying to squirt water at a friend, and it hits those stones, the stones block it. So the gallbladder is doing this contraction, yet the stones are blocking it. So if that's the case, you probably need to have that evaluated by a doctor, by a surgeon, and let them determine what your course of action is. Because no matter if you're eating standard American diet or eating keto, when you eat a high-fat meal and you have gallstones, you can potentially have what they call a gallbladder attack. It is not attacking you. It's unable to squirt the bile around the stones that are clogging it up. So that is the short answer to a very common question. So this is episode 1 of Common Keto Questions. I plan on doing things like addressing hair loss and what to do when you stall, things like that. But that's the one. So let me scroll back. That's it for me, but I don't have my glasses, so darn, I'm going to have to be squinting. So hi, everybody, as you're joining. Hi, Steve. My brother Steve from Keto Kaleidoscope's on. He's also a registered nurse. He's down, it's over 90 pounds right now, Steve. He is doing fantastic. He's wearing a size medium shirt. So if you want to go to Keto Kaleidoscope and follow his journey as well, that'd be great. And then my daughter Rachel D's on. Hi, Rachel. She's a type 1 diabetic who's got a great page, has a lot of tips and things for the younger generation, very applicable to our generation as well. She's got some great freezer crock-pot meals or freezer Instapot meals that she's been posting some videos on, and you will find her at Rachel D on Facebook or racheld.com, and it's a different spelling for Rachel. It's R-A-C-H-A-E-L, R-A-C-H-A-E-L, next word D-E-E, and she's doing great. So hi, Rachel D, you're on there. Good. Hi, Shannon, good to see you. And Lauren Gitman, my other daughter, who is, sorry, I keep moving the phone, I'm trying to see. So, relative term, Brother Mike has lost 60 plus pounds with no gallbladder. I don't have a gallbladder. I've lost almost 70. So it's you can do it. It just, might have to adjust it. And my sister of my heart, Jana Stewart, is on the line. Hi, Jana. Oh my gosh, I miss you so much. You're retired and I never see you anymore. Had my gallbladder out, trying to see what it says, 25 years ago. And something. Can't read it. Sorry. Gosh, I wish I had my glasses on. Oh, you love that color on me. Thank you. Jana, you're so cute. This is my new jacket. I'm speaking in about an hour to a group of surgeons and nurses. So, hi, Sonia. Let me see. Had yours out 5 years ago. Good. Yeah, if you guys have had your gallbladder out, let us know, and we'll see if we can reassure people. Thanks for the kind words, Rose. I appreciate that you like my videos. How does this work if you have hypothyroidism? That's a really good question. Hashimoto's disease or thyroid disease is oftentimes an autoimmune response to excessive inflammation. The inflammation trigger is oftentimes glucose. Now, am I saying it's going to cure your hypothyroidism? Of course, I'm not saying that. Some people do get better T3 and T4 levels, but what you have to know is that, yes, you can do this diet. Of course you can. This is a wonderful diet for this. It's a wonderful way of eating. It's not a diet for me. It's a lifestyle. And what it does for you is it actually helps you burn more energy because you're eating better calories, you're eating more whole foods, you're eating green leafy vegetables, you're not eating nutrient empty calories. When we eat a lot of carbohydrates, there's very few nutrients in them. They're just sort of fluffy clouds. We don't get the really dense nutrients that we need. So even though we're consuming a lot of calories, our blood sugar goes up, it drops down, and then we end up feeling hungry again. And so with hypothyroidism, your weight loss will be slower, especially if you're over 40 or 50. I'm 60, so I would not expect my weight loss to be that of a male 25-year-old. All right, so we have to take it into context. But a year ago, I was wearing size 18s. There's some pictures that I posted a while back when I hit my 1-year anniversary on Ask Nurse Cindy, and if you don't give up, you're going to win. If you keep your carbs low, play around with the fat, see where you land. Eat, don't eat every couple of hours. That's a whole nother podcast about should we eat 3 meals and 3 snacks a day. Heck no. Eat when you're hungry. Try not to eat out of boredom or anger or stress, and let your body have the chance to have your insulin levels low and to pull the fat out of the fat stores. This fat that we have are stored calories for future famine. Our brains are still prehistoric, if you will. So let me think. Let's see what else I have. Okay, good. All of you that are saying no gallbladders. Hi, everybody. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Mishan Ray. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Let me see if there's any other questions. I'm having issues now that I'm having issues now that I'm on antidepressants. It's a struggle to lose. What to do now? That's a great question, Ellie, because antidepressants will oftentimes alter our metabolism, and they change the neural pathways in our brain. And by all means, if you feel that you need them and your doctor has prescribed them, just know that you can lose the weight, but you need to be aware that it does slow it down. So that's okay. A year from now, you're still going to be better. So by all means, you stay on those if your doctor's ordered them, and you do what they say. But it's not that you can't lose weight. It's just your body's resetting itself. It's sort of adjusting to what's going on. You may need to play around with your calories or your fat grams just to try to mix things up. And I will tell you, those that have lost 30, 40, 50 pounds, you're not carrying around all that extra weight, so you're not requiring as many calories. So you don't need as many calories as you did when you were carrying a 50-pound bag of potatoes on your back all the time. So that's one thing. And so I think I'm probably going to be stopping here in a little bit. Yes, I have Hashimoto's. Thank you so much for that. Good, Debbie. I'm not glad you have it. I'm glad that it helped make some sense. Type 1 diabetic, any additional information about how to be in keto for about 3 weeks with great success? Lisa, that's fantastic. So Lisa, my daughter, Rachel D., I highly recommend you go and follow her page. What we did, we worked very carefully and very slowly to drop her carbohydrates down. She stays typically around 30. She doesn't go down to the 20. She's lost she's wearing size 4s now. Her blood sugars are much more stable. Her insulin's down. I think, Rachel, you can answer her. Maybe you're at 60% of what you were. And the more you can drop your insulin, Lisa, the more you're going to be able to lose the weight. It's elevated insulin that causes us to push calories into our fat stores. In the absence of elevated insulin, and this stands true for any of us, but especially for a type 1 diabetic, if you're taking insulin shots based on what your blood sugars are, and the blood sugars are elevated because of carbohydrate consumption, that's what elevates blood sugars. Now, stress does too, and hormones, but the main problem with blood sugar elevation is carbohydrate intake. So as you manage your carbohydrate intake to the green leafy ones, the good cruciferous vegetables, you can bit by bit lower your insulin amount in conjunction with your physician or your diabetic educator, and you're going to want to, my friend just got here, so it means I'm going to have to go. But you're going to have to be patient with yourself, but know that what you do as a type 1 diabetic, by lowering your insulin down, your long-term health is going to improve dramatically. Your projection of a healthy, long life go up dramatically the less insulin you need, and your A1Cs are going to come down. Lisa, I did a video a while back, about a year ago, on A1Cs using a red Frisbee. Go into my videos, click view all, look for the one of me sitting at a kitchen table holding the red Frisbee. So that signal from my friend that just walked in means it's time to go to set up the room. I'm in Fresno, California tonight. I go to LA tomorrow and then home tomorrow night. And I have had a lovely visit out here in California, visiting old friends and seeing the sites out here and doing some good work for patients that have wounds. And I really appreciate each and every one of you. Share this video. Please feel free, if anybody that you know is thinking about keto, or anybody you've seen on any other page, people asking questions about, I can't do keto because I have a gallbladder or something like that, feel free to share this. You can go into share, copy the link, and then just paste it into that. So let's help others understand not having a gallbladder does not keep you from doing keto. You may have to adjust your fat for a period of time until you get used to it. The sooner you the closer your surgery was, the more irritation you may have. But if you're 20 years out or 5 years out, you're probably going to do just fine. All right, you take care, everybody, and we'll come up with our next episodes. I'll be numbering them so I can refer you guys back to which episode.